The supernatural township is the place of many mysteries, dark forces, and gruesome deaths. Each season, our favorite characters and we, the viewers, are introduced to new obstacles that are linked to the town's gory past. This season, the mysterious objects of discussion are the carved statues that were found near the abandoned campsite, found in the middle of the woods. Jim and Kenny's adventure in the woods did give the townsfolk enough food supplies to survive the winter, but the scary statues they found on their way have us all worried for our favorite characters. With Tian Chun's death, it's abundantly clear that this season won't pull any punches when it comes to murdering our favorite characters. So now the question is, how will these handmade statues in the woods play a role in the lives of the townspeople? Let's discuss. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The statues and their mysterious history. After finding the crops near the lake in the forest, Kenny brought a group of people with him to forage for these crops. The group consisted of Jade, Christy, Dale, and a few other extras we saw throughout the show. Unlike Jim and Kenny, who did not think much about the statues and walked right past them to set up camp for the night, this group is way more concerned about these spooky-looking statues. As they speak, they speculate that maybe these statues are like the talismans that Boyd found in the cave. While a talisman is a small object that has to be hung in an enclosed space to be effective, these statues are planted outside, almost along the perimeter of the campsite. Could it be that these statues are like scarecrows, warding off the malicious monsters who find joy in torturing townsfolk? The townsfolk are all surprised by this abandoned campsite, which begs the question, why did the previous owners of this campsite leave it in the first place? I mean, they have a source of water and patches of vegetables, more than enough to keep them well fed. The log cabins are tough and not that easy to break into, or so it seems. So why did they leave? Well, nothing has been confirmed yet, but that won't stop us, fans, from having our own theories, right? So, theory time! Purpose of the statues. Any mysterious relics we've seen so far in the show can be grossly divided into two subcategories. You have the defensive ones, like the talismans, and you have the offensive ones, like the music box. If you find the former, you're safe. If you find the latter, you're screwed. That's the basic gist of it. While the theory that the statues are a scarecrow to ward off evil sounds pretty plausible, I don't quite agree. Let me explain. So in the first episode of Season 3, when Jim and Kenny were in the log cabin, we heard someone walking outside their cabin. The assumption was that they were monsters. Usually monsters walk up to the building and stay right outside, even if there is a talisman. But from the sound cues that we hear in the episode, it seems like whatever there was, it walked away. If they were the monsters, they walked away too. The only time we've seen monsters not get up close and personal was in the second season when Boyd, Jim, Donna, and Randall were in the RV. They had their talismans hanging, but the monsters stopped a few meters away from them. And then, after a few moments of tension-filled silence, the broken radio started playing the music box tune, freaking everyone out. So, we can say that if the monsters are classified as level 1 threats in the forest, when they sense a higher level of threat around the victims, they let them be. Since the music box monster was in full swing, the monsters didn't bother to attack the four, until they stepped out of the RV, of course. With that in mind, I think in the first episode, the only reason the creatures walked away was because this campsite is the home of something much worse. I believe that maybe the statues are working to keep the evil inside, rather than to keep them outside. Since Jim and Kenny already had the talisman rock at hand, and barely stayed at night, they managed to get out of the campsite scot-free. However, I doubt things would have been this way after Jade had dismantled the statue. Well, yes, Jade had broken the statue to get the steel rods and used them to save Christy, who was caught in a bear trap. I think that the ominous long shot on the statues implies that things are about to go down. I mean, immediately after Jade did that, he got a vision of the mysterious man drinking blood from a human skull. Jade had seen the guy before when he went to the forest to urinate, but back then, this guy was pinned to a tree with a stake or a blade through his eye. But now the hallucination is roaming free. I think in this season, these scarecrows, as well as the ventriloquist puppet we've seen plague Jade so much, would tie up together. Maybe this season, we'll understand how all of Jade's visions connect. On the surface, we can all understand that Jade keeps getting visions of people who have played the worst possible roles in the lives of the previous townsfolk. Christopher orchestrated that whole massacre that left Victor as the lone survivor. The Civil War soldier definitely looked a bit too trigger-happy, and now we have a man drinking the forbidden Kool-Aid from a human skull, giving off major cult vibes. So, Jade will have to be the one to follow the gory, disturbing breadcrumbs his hallucinations have given him, and figure out how he can stop the inevitable from happening. There's also a running theory that maybe these statues are warding off the giant spiders we've seen referenced in Victor's pictures. We didn't actually get confirmations that Jim and Kenny heard the creatures. It could have been a Shelob-sized spider too. While I don't think that this will happen, I will be very happy if it does. Marvelous verdict. When I first saw Jade, I didn't quite like him. He was very condescending and just straight up annoying. But over the seasons, I've grown to appreciate his character. I think this season, Jade will be following in Boyd's footsteps. Boyd brought the music box monster to the town and eventually defeated it. I think that by breaking the statue, Jade did the same. He'll get more and more disturbing visions, and he'll have to triumph over them to save everyone. The most interesting part about this whole thing is the huge difference in who Boyd and Jade are as people. While Boyd has this hero complex and wishes to save everyone, Jade has always been a bit more selfish. He literally struggled with his own conscience before heading into the tunnel, hoping to save Julie. So, seeing his journey from this rich, pretty boy to a full-on hero is something that I'm genuinely excited about. Plus, we're finally getting to know about the history of the town, which is always great because we've been in the dark for far too long. Let us know in the comments what you guys think these statues do, and I'll see you all next time. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.